Now, Desmond Ross is an aviation industry specialist, and he joins me now from Windhoek in Namibia. Good to speak to you, Desmond. Now, the plane that crashed just a few minutes after takeoff. What could be some of the likely causes?
Good morning, and yes, I suppose we just start by saying that this is a terrible accident, and sympathies go to all of those involved and the families. The accident is remarkably similar to the one that occurred in Indonesia, Lion Air, back in October. It's much too early to speculate, and in fact, even the results of the accident in Indonesia have not been finalized. The investigation is ongoing. I heard a commentator this morning talk about the facts of the Indonesian accident, and that was totally improper because the facts are not yet clearly on the table. This accident, we still don't really know a great deal about it, except that it is a Boeing 737 MAX of the same type that crashed in October in Indonesia. Most regrettable, the Boeing 737 is one of the most used aircraft in the entire world. There are more 737s flying than in, I think, any other type of aircraft at this moment in time. And it has an excellent safety record. But for two of the MAX, the latest and greatest version of the 737, for two of them to have crashed in such a short period of time is of great concern. And I'm sure that Boeing are in something of a great deal of concern this morning for the Boeing people to ensure that they find out exactly what has gone wrong in both cases. Weather could have played a role, although I believe the weather is not particularly severe in that area. There are many, the question, I've heard no comments about the unfortunate issue that surrounds us all these days of terrorism, whether that could have played any role in the whole event. I do not know. I have not heard that commented.
Mm-hmm. And so, Desmond, the fact that these are, you said it was very similar to the Lion Air crash, but of course you said it is too early to tell, but the coincidences are there.
The coincidences are there, and the fact, one of the facts that we do know is that Boeing have made some changes to the flight control, the flight management system on the Boeing 737 MAX, which is a little different from that of previous aircraft, previous 737 models. And there's a little bit of controversy over the way in which pilots are being trained, or in fact not trained, on the use of the slightly different control system, which is designed to prevent stalling in flight. Now, we don't know what procedures Ethiopian have followed on this, but I would say this, that Ethiopian have got an excellent safety record overall. They're considered to be one of the premier airlines in Africa, and they have a very good maintenance center, which is totally approved by Boeing. Other airlines take their aircraft to Ethiopian for maintenance. So, you know, I'm inclined to think that this is not something that has been an oversight in terms of the airline. Time will tell, and at least in this case, unfortunate though it all is, at least we know exactly where the aircraft has gone down, and they should not have too much difficulty in recovering the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder, which, if they do get those quickly, will allow for an early resolution of what went wrong.
Okay. And Desmond, you mentioned that the investigation into the Lion aircraft in Indonesia has not been finalized, but what is the latest there?
Apparently there were incorrect readings on the cockpit flight instruments. The captain's instrument was showing one thing, the first officer's instruments were showing something different, and there's some evidence that there was a malfunction in a sensor, which is on the outside of the aircraft and senses the angle of attack of the aircraft. And there are many, I don't know, your viewers may not be aware, but there are many sensors on the outside of the aircraft to measure airspeed, air pressure, angle of attack of that is the angle of the wings and the nose up or nose down attitude of the aircraft. And if these sensors, normally you don't have a problem with them. It's extremely rare. But there is some suggestion that one of those sensors may have malfunctioned and caused incorrect information to go to the flight management system, which then led to some flight control difficulties. But until I see it in writing and the final and formal report from the Accident Investigation Board, I'd like to sort of leave it at that until we understand exactly what the experts have discovered.
Okay, Desmond, thank you very much for sharing your expertise with us here on TRT World. That was Desmond Ross, an aviation industry specialist, speaking to us from Namibia. Thank you.